Warning: this scene is rather disgusting and may not be suitable for people who've just had their lunch.
Keep your hands and feet inside the car at all times.
I'm going to reach.
Imagine a tunnel of love can't be that scary.
This is Six Flags Tunnel of Love. It's fucking nuts. It's love, like, for real.
Okay, well, speaking of love for real, Rebecca, I just want to say, you know, this past year has been the most amazing year.
I don't want to be on it! I don't want to be on this thing!
What?
Let me on it!
That dude in the car ahead of us is standing.
Jerry, this might have been a bad idea on my part. I misjudged the type of ride this was.
No, don't worry. That's my dad. So weird. That's my dad.
No, Mr. Bernstein, I think maybe I'm just going to ask her later, okay? Mr. Bernstein, get back in the car. No, Mr. Bernstein.
Safety workers literally just checked us. Like 2 people stand on a car. Oh God!
Rebecca!
Tom, how are you just working through the logic of this? I'm fucking freaked!
Rebecca! I have worked myself up for this, and maybe this is not the right time.
I love improv. But scripted works will always have 2 distinct advantages. 1, a scripted work has a script. Obviously, this has its advantage in actors knowing what you say and when, but providing it isn't being royally cocked up, a scripted play also has a sense of finality. The play before you is unfolded as it's meant to, for better or worse. It has gravitas and confidence of being part of some plan. 2, it's a production. Many scripted works will have costumes and moving sets and an orchestra and a cast of thousands and smoke and a program that helps you get the gist of the plot, all sorts of little helping hands. Even at its more bare-bones level, it has the benefit of casting, instead of me both as the little old lady, and the little young girl, and Peter van der Hooterban. Improv, on the other hand, has some chairs, if we're lucky, and each other. Which is great, but how do we compete with those 2 distinct advantages? And to me, the counter to both is specifics. It's not just a strip club, it's Manhattan, 1961. Show the audience everything. Show the audience everything. A filmmaker, an author, any storyteller is completely in control of these things. So we need to be too. An improv scene can have any prop, any scene instantly for free.
Yeah, say whatever you want, however you want, and you get to play whoever you want. That's pretty great.
You can build anything. Yet so many scenes are as generic as it comes. Sure, there's decent people in there, they're having an interaction, but their world is not. It's repetitive. The details are just a little vague.
The idea that when you start a scene, you're on the infinite spectrum of scenes. It could literally be anything. But as soon as anybody says or does anything, it shrinks that down to only about 100,000 things. And then somebody says or does another thing, it could only be like 10,000 things. So that's the process of doing a scene, is gradually narrowing it so it's that one unique point on the infinite spectrum. And so when the scene is done, it couldn't possibly be confused for any other improv scene. And you have that opportunity whenever you start a scene, but I think a lot of scenes end and it's like, it was still about 100 scenes. Audiences laugh at specificity. I don't know why psychologically that is so, though if I were to put out a theory, I would say that from this big unformed mass of vagueness up there, they can start to see things. You know, you're activating the audience's imagination as well. So when you start labeling things, they start seeing what you see, and the recognition of that makes them laugh in some way.
Well, here's a simple tip. When you mention an object, and you will, let's say it's a car, just say what kind of car it is. You're probably thinking of a specific car, just say it. When you get in, drive that specific car. Drive your car with a busted window and your CD in the player. Specific choices make for unique scenes.
The word car is boring and the word Acura is interesting in a scene. If I say, you know, let's get in your Hummer, you are a different character than if I say get in your Volt. And it's so much more interesting than like, oh, God, you don't care about the Earth at all. You're always ruining the Earth, which is what a lot of improvisers do, where they just... I'm not showing you, I'm telling you.
You're always blank.
Yeah, like driving a Hummer or giving the gift of a Hummer is showing, not telling.
Details expand the frame from a person to a world in which you could live, that you would want to live. If you're out to dinner and you order the lobster, you're a different person than if you order the garden salad. You're at a different place than if you order the fairy floss. Now, you're at a different time of day and year if you order the Halloween McMuffin. Let's scale it back a little. Let's start easy. A decision you can make right at the top of the scene to get you off and racing. Setting. Choose a setting and your scene will follow. Maybe it's a cliche. That's okay for now. An audience will definitely be able to visualize cliche, and we want them to visualize something. You can always mix things up later. Don't be afraid if your specifics might not be exactly what your partner had in mind. The minute you say them is what you now both have in mind. That's how the mind works. It's the easiest yes and in the world, and it's so effective. Name people, name things. It makes everyone's job, yours, your partner's, the audience's, way easier. Don't just think bedroom. Think what is in their bedroom. This is their home life, their psyche sanctuary, if you will. It's what is in their dresser. What does this say about them as a person? Choose a setting. Let's say Silence of the Lambs, right? All right. We see a deep pine, New England wood, foggy, intense, cold. A woman struggles with a rope, which represents her struggle in a cold, unfeeling world as she tries to make it up the FBI. You don't have to say that last bit, obviously. But that's the metonym. That's what we're trying to get across. Now, that rope thing may not have occurred to you, but you got a vague idea that it did, and there'll be members of the audience that would get it, so at least give them the opportunity to try. If it occurs to you, it'll probably occur to them. Now, what I did there was scene painting, which you may have done before. My general rule of thumb is describe the things you would be able to see if it was a movie or a play, but you can't because we're making it up, we don't have any props. What you shouldn't really do, as evidence here,
consciously lies on the ground. Thorin Oakenshield makes no move. Bilbo Baggins approaches, stops.
is start puppeting people, describing what is actually happening on screen, or forcing the people in the scene to just do what you say. You can describe their clothes but not their actions.
Inside, the flat is in chaos. There's blood and tire marks all up the walls. A plainclothes officer picks some bits of meat up off a dado rail with forceps and puts them in a plastic bag. All the furniture has been smashed to bits. A mustachioed inspector wearing glasses and smoking a fag surveys the scene as Noddy comes in.
I'm Inspector Cleaver. Are you friends with Mr. Fraser?
Another way to show choices is deliberate, patient object work. I find once I name an item, I treat it more accurately, humanly, patiently. Sometimes I even see it.
But mime is different than space, you know, and that's what Viola said, because she saw that I was a mime and I had great movement. And I did a little, taking a cigarette pack and did this, you know, and I was doing very mimish. And everybody else couldn't even handle space, but here I was detailing some space. And so Viola would come up to me and she'd say, let me ask you a question. She'd say, are you really handling that, or are you drawing us a picture? So she got me, you know. I said, well, I'm drawing you a picture. And she says, and it's a very nice picture. She said, and we see it, but you don't see it. So she had me said, get rid of everything in your head. Just pick another object right away. And I had no time to think, which at that time I was very much, I had to have something in my head. I grabbed an orange. And I swear to God, this absolutely happened. I took that orange, I still see it to this very day. It's a navel orange, it had a little blue sun-kissed thing on its pebbled skin. I dug my thumbnail into it and I peeled it back like that. I saw a spray come off the rind, and the whole class went, So something made itself visible.
Let's look at this opening improv scene again. This time, notice the background characters. The mostly silent ones in the back of the roller coaster, the ones being the safety guys, or the ones providing the noises of the track hoists. Notice the specifics that help the game.
Imagine a ton of love can't be that scary.
This is Six Flags Tunnel of Love. It's fucking nuts.
Where this ride is, what this ride should have been, the recurring proposal, and of course, the blood splatter. There are, at any time, 8 people in this scene, but it never feels that crowded because they're all working together to paint the same picture.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the middle of the film.
Okay, that's scene painting and object work, the basic techniques of what to do. Now you may be asking, what do I do? Like for real, I can't describe everything. What should I focus on? Which is a great question, and you may have answered it slightly yourself. What should be focused on? Literally in focus, if this was a film. What would have its own shot, get special mention? Do that. What do you want to give colour to?
It's your eyes.
Use the most loaded information. Now, one of the dead easiest ways to do it, and it's almost a cheat, is describing written things in the scene, alright? Show someone's wealthy, you should show them with money or material things, or you could see their bank statement. You can show someone's a criminal, or a cop, who's in the pursuit of a criminal, in the middle of an action film. Words can describe a location, or it can even just be someone's tattoo.
I don't know whether to look at him or read him.
You can use specifics to show danger.
My name is Craig!
You can use specifics to show sexuality. Or you can just use specifics for an interesting choice.
How much for the Cheetos and water?
An audience can take one look at them and tell whether the world is bright and clean or a little more run down. Whether our characters have very little money or plenty of it.
Let's say you have a gun. It's very important, alright? How are you going to show that gun? How do they talk about the gun?
Of all the weapons in the vast Soviet arsenal, nothing was more profitable than Automat Kalashnikova, model of 1947, more commonly known as the AK-47 or Kalashnikov.
How do you show someone's powerful or menacing? How do you show anything at all? Just be specific in your choices. Each individual object means something else about the scene. It could mean anything to you. It could mean nothing to you, but it makes the scene richer. Objects impact on us every day.
Very, very little discussion on how these things really affect us.
I think the real purpose of specificity in scenes is to stimulate each other's imagination. And you never know what might trigger your partner's imagination in a scene. So if I say, I'm going to the store, what does that mean to you?
It could mean you're going to the grocery store. It could mean that you're going to Target. It could mean that you're going shoe shopping.
Yeah, it does, you know, it's still too open to interpretation, you know. But if I were to say, I'm going to 7-Eleven, what would you say to that?
I'd say, pick me up a Mountain Dew, dude.
If I say I'm going to IKEA?
Check out the ottomans. We need one for the living room.
I'm going to Tiffany.
Buy me some diamonds, bitch.
See? So, you know, all I need to do is use...
It's all very aggressive.
Well, yeah. I don't know why you called me bitch in all of them either. But all I need to use is one word.
Right.
You know, that has some specificity to it, and it's going to stimulate your brain in a particular way. You're going to have an association that you form with IKEA or 7-Eleven or Tiffany.
A more specific answer is to use a prop literally as a prop to support the game of the scene. A specific can heighten the game, show someone powerful. A specific can definitely explore a game.
Another layer to that is your scene partners waiting to tag in or to edit or move the story forward. They have that image in their mind. Like, yeah, okay, it's just not a store that's in space. This is Vaughn's. This is Vaughn's on Pass. And you know, there's a crazy person out in front, and I could play that guy, and he's getting money for this orphanage, but that orphanage burned down because you saw it on KTLA, which is another detail. Hand in hand with that is strong declarations. You can move a scene forward with just like, yes, I agree. Hey, that's cool. Okay, great. Why is it great? Declare. Declare. I think it's great because I've been there before. Story. History. It's important. Hey, that's great. Let's go further now with details. Hey, that's great. I've been there before. I love Disneyland. It's a small world. I haven't been there since I was a child. Tag in flashback. Mom, Dad, you as a child.
A specific can definitely invite a game. The waitress here is surly, we get that, but giving her a black eye makes her surlier and invites us to ask,
What happened to your eye?
a specific can definitely provide a base reality. If you want to rest the game, go back to your environment. The more specific you are, the more invitations to explore game will present themselves.
My dear Dr. Sattler, welcome to Jurassic.
Listen to this scene from the podcast The Meat Improv. Notice how their choice of specifics doesn't slow their scene down, it actually makes it more alive and dynamic.
We see a montage of these four guys just winning.
Taking care of business.
Craps tables. 8, 6, 8, 6. Oh, they're going
We see they're really living it up, like letting sexy women blow on their dice.
Yeah. A lot of limousine shots with them, like all up through the sunroof.
Yeah. At the food court buying pizza for everybody. Real living it up. Yeah, it's so extravagant. Real extravagant.
Yeah, that last shot was just Jake. The other guys are at like a nice restaurant having a classy dinner with ties and stuff. We see Dad and the other guys pop a bottle of champagne. We see Jake put a pencil into a Mike's Hard Lemonade can.
It goes through his hand. He's still taking care of business.
He's at a karaoke
bar singing that song with an old woman
and no shirt.
They meet back up. Wow, we are up.
Yeah,
150 grand.
Yeah, looking good. How you doing, man? Where'd you go? We missed you.
I am having the time of my life. Oh God,
is that a tattoo?
Yeah, I got a tattoo.
TCB, taking care of business.
Yeah. Woo, boy. Well, it's not a competition, but I think we all had a good share of fun. How'd you guys do?
We're up 150 grand. How much money you got left?
I got $7. Yeah. I got $7. And I bought a story.
A what?
A what? I bought a story. I can now use it if I want.
What?
What are you talking about?
Oh, that's what you're saying to explain
where my money went. I met a woman who slept with Wayne Newton.
When?
19. All
right, I know enough just by that.
Okay, 1999.
Doubt it.
She slept with him, had a wild night. I bought it. Now it's my story.
Did you sleep with her?
I did not.
Did you sleep with Wayne Newton?
I mean, that's the story I have now. Wait, are you going around telling someone that you bought a story off, or are you saying that you're the one that slept with Wayne Newton? From here on out, I'm the one who slept with Wayne Newton.
That's weird. That's not what I thought you meant when you said you bought a story. So you bought a woman's story of sleeping with Wayne Newton.
Not the rights to it or anything? You just get to tell it?
Yeah, it's my story. I mean, I could turn it into a novella or something.
I mean, you could have did that anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have to pay her. Like, when you walked away from us, you had 15 grand.
Yeah, I bought everybody in the food court pizza, so I had 14 grand.
A lot of people.
$900. I bought some Mike's Hard Lemonade.
All right. Well, I was ready to go home. My boss has been ringing me off the hook.
Yeah,
begging me to come back to work.
I gotta get back to teaching kids how to read and stuff. We think you should maybe stay.
What?
Until you have a story of your own. That's not involves food courts and Mike's Hard Lemonade.
I have a good... I'm ready. Well, I think we all came out on top. Are you guys telling me I didn't come out on top?
I think we should probably stay too, fellas. That trip is a nightmare.
Oh, God.
I mean,
just stay for another week?
1 more week, right?
All right, but I gotta cancel this helicopter Uber I just ordered.
Oh,
because I can afford that now.
No, you can keep that, and we can just take it to the Luxor.
To the Luxor.
Pick us up at the Luxor and take us back to the Luxor.
We see a montage of the Blue Man Group. These guys get to participate in the show. We see Jake at Thunder Down Under just wiping off the men.
Sorry about that. Sorry I got that on you. Sorry.
These guys have met all the porn stars at the AVN Awards. We're talking the porn stars.
Jenna Jameson.
Jenna Jameson.
Yep, she's there. She's there for a Lifetime Achievement Award. I could name some more, but I'm not gonna. Great. We see Jake again.
He's bungee jumping. But it's an indoor bungee jumping.
But for kids. So it's him and a bunch of kids around just jumping.
Oh, let's all go on together. Ready? Hold hands, going down. He's being escorted out by the security. We see these guys on that roller coaster on top of
New York.
The New York, and they're going around the roller coaster. While getting blowjobs. Yeah. I'm stuck on the top of my underwear's caught on the top of the Luxor.
Their moves are simple, but the detail gives you that much more flavour. Being specific is particularly useful for exploring a character's game. How a character dresses can show age, era, attitude and occupation, but can go even deeper. Let's take one of the most cliche improv objects, cigarettes. The fact that the character smokes tells us something, but how they smoke tells us even more. Holly Golightly in that stripper scene has a cigarette in hand because she's in the middle of a bender. Well, as bent as she'll ever get. In another scene, she smokes a long holder because she's more refined, although perhaps just as drunk. Holly uses her holder far different than, say, Cruella de Vil, who almost uses it as a weapon. Cruella smoking is a different thing than, say, Jay Jonas, who's different than another character. Okay, well maybe these characters are already different, and whatever prop they had they'd use this way, and that's true, fine. Alright, let's get more specific.
Bond.
Jurassic Park.
James Bond's character has shifted ever so slightly with each person playing him, and their props reflect that. With Sean Connery, he was loose in his mouth. He was an easygoing, shoot-em-up, anti-authority sort of guy. Sean Connery's Bond always looked natural in every circumstance, which George Lazenby never really pulled off. Poor George Lazenby. Just doesn't understand how that pipe works. Roger Moore was a much more high-class James Bond, and so he used a cigar, the rich man's tobacco, unlike Sean Connery's cigarettes. And Roger Moore used the cigar a lot. Dalton, he would smoke a lot inside, and his cigarettes were much more dirty and everyday. By then they had the cancer tip. He'd often be smoking in front of people when they weren't smoking. It wasn't a social thing anymore, it was a real fuck you. His James Bond was far angrier. Now, while Pierce Brosnan brought some of that Roger Moore class to James Bond again, but his was more new money with new manners as opposed to the old money of Roger Moore. He smoked cigars comfortably, but it wasn't his main thing. This leads us to another object word cliche, drinking. Every drink has its own cliches. Use it, go against it. Gaston uses drinking socially. Mickey Rourke uses drinking aggressively.
You're gonna pay for that goddamn beer.
Against a guy that looks a lot like Gaston, which is weird.
Fuck you! Get away from that cat! Let's go! Run a four!
Alright, drinking, smoking, these are good choices, but we're missing one major object work cliche. Phones. Now this is important because improv scenes will get phones. They're a great way of getting information.
Oh, hello? Well, John, I'm sure. The police? That's who you are.
But be specific. What phone would you use at home, on the street, underground, under the influence, in peril, in the firing line, indie movie, in pursuit, intimidating, in the 80s, in the 90s, in the 2000s, or in the Matrix all along? You can apply this to anything. What book would your character read? Would your character read?
I see you are reading a children's book, yet your profile indicates you are a mature adult. Is there an error?
Shut up! Alright, if they did read, where would they read it? Alright, and not just the name of the place, what is that place like? Show in your actions. You can show the layout by the way you move, or you can just know the layout, because knowing still helps you. It makes any old scene, even a retail scene, that much richer.
That book's really not great. Just in case, browsing turned to buying. You'd be wasting your money. But if it's Turkey you're interested in, this one, on the other hand, is very good. I think the man who wrote it has actually been to Turkey, which helps. There's also a very amusing incident with a kebab, which is one of many amusing incidents.
Oh, signed by the author, I see.
Yeah, couldn't stop him. If you can find an unsigned one, it's worth an absolute fortune.
I will take this one.
Oh, right. So, well, second thoughts, maybe it's not that bad after all. Actually, it's a sort of classic, really. None of those childish kebab stories you find in so many books these days. And, I tell you what, I'll throw in one of those for free. Useful for lighting fires, wrapping fish, that sort of thing.
Yeah, he just talked about the book the whole time. Were you bored? Did it portray the scene? No. And you can do this anytime you like. Pick up a book and talk about that book. Have an opinion about things. A lot of improv scenes get bogged down, as the saying goes, trying to fix the bike. But if you care enough about that bike, if you know that bike, you can fix the bike. Or maybe you just want to explore an idea in the details for a while, like a man tormented by his terrible lotto decisions.
I want to return my lottery. Are you the person that we should talk to about this?
Well, we did give you the check. We've never done this.
Do not want it because I am doing extravagant things that are not enjoyable.
But, sir, you can do whatever you want. So, I mean, what have you done? What are you talking about?
I filled my swimming pool with puppies.
Hold on. There were puppies on top of puppies?
Yeah. Believe me, there are at least 3 feet of dead puppies. Because the puppies on the bottom can't breathe through the puppies on top. Don't say of course not.
Well, in your mind, you thought just more is better in quantity in a pool? Why not a waiting pool of puppies? Then at least they wouldn't
Do you know how much money you gave me? I took the payout and received $285 million. I immediately pushed aside.
What else did you get? Are you only quantifying things in swimming pools?
No. I filled up a car with raptors.
You didn't say rappers, you said raptors.
Raptors.
I would believe rappers.
What do you mean believe? You don't think I'm lying?
You got dinosaurs?
You have to put dinosaur DNA into an iguana and have the iguanas mate for a year. Luckily, they have a short gestation cycle. And you end up with,
Sir, you are
with something
genius.
that's 99% raptor.
You need to stop. Well, what was the problem with that? You can only get one raptor in a car, right? I mean, how many can you get in a car?
Unfortunately, the DNA of the iguana caused them to be smallish raptors.
That's unfortunate. Seems like that's fortunate.
No, because they hunt as a pack.
Like piranha?
So the more of them, the more dangerous. And I had about 100 raptors in my car. And
they didn't suffocate each other like the puppies?
They're hardier than puppies.
You could feed them that layer of dead puppies, at least for a while. They're already dead.
Odd you should say that. But you can't keep feeding them the dead puppies because eventually they're rancid and it kills the raptors.
Okay, sir. I'm going to say the obvious, but why not give this away to charity, all your money?
You know, because I'm hoping that I'm afraid I would give it to some charity, some whimsical charity that wouldn't. Because I'm making bad decisions and I don't want to give it to.
Thank you so much for your donation, sir.
You're welcome. Please do something wise.
We're going to make trolls.
Oh.
In that scene was UCB co-founder Ian Roberts. Here's a great technique for practicing specifics in a scene. It's called flashing.
He's like a science guy who's got a hypothesis, and it's like, okay, I've seen this so many trials. When someone says something to you, to go through this process, to learn this process, when I have something said to me, I immediately have a connotation I make in my head. So if you tell me, I stopped in at the cafeteria while I was visiting my mom at the hospital, something happens in my brain. Mm-hmm. I see a specific cafeteria. I see a hospital room. I imagine my mother. I think of the sickness my mother's had. Something, I make it personal.
And so often it's just already informed by the specifics of your life anyway. Like when I imagine a dog, or if you tell me a story about a dog,
I would put in one of either my dogs or a friend's dog or whatever is in that picture of my mind.
And we want to get from specific to unusual. And sometimes people can yes and letter of the law correctly and only be specific for line after line after line and never get to unusual. And I think unusual comes from using something that you flash to. And then when you make that work in the context of this fictional scene, it seems unusual.
Yeah.
So this thing of the flash, someone says something to me, I flash on something in my mind, and then I want to use whatever's the most specific in that flash I had. And then I want to fashion a fictional line that agrees with this first line there. And when I work this exercise, the first point where I might say, stop, you're not doing it, is, the person delivers a line, and the person goes, that makes me think... Stop.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're just reporting.
Yeah.
It already happened. Tell me what already happened. But so the first thing is to get aware of that thing that happens. The second thing is to be able to pull the good thing. So you say, my uncle used to put on a clown suit and shoot arrows at balloons for my birthday.
You know my uncle?
And from that you take, my uncle's coming over as your second line. You're like, oh my God. You had the most beautiful flash in the world.
Yeah.
Only you in the world has ever had a birthday party with an uncle that shot arrows at balloons every birthday, and you didn't give that to us. And and the person then, when you point out to them, they go, oh, of course. So then they got to do that, and then what they might not do is artfully make it fit the scene.
Yeah.
I can't just relate that information. It has to be in keeping with your information. But once you do those, you practice that enough, and you get in the habit of that, I'm telling you, you're going to have scenes that are going to look like sketches, because it's going to seem like this guy had to know he was going to write this.
Yeah.
Everything seemed to, if I go back, everything seemed to come logically from that first thing.
Yeah.
When you, a human, hear a word that describes a location or an object or something, often your brain, the human brain, will flash a memory or a feeling or an emotion or just a specific that goes along with it. It's human nature. You make connections. Just thinking about what that flash is, writing it down over and over again, you'll train yourself to be specific in a scene. Some of it's obvious. When someone says pink elephants, you think of pink elephants. But also, when someone says elephant, I think of going to the zoo when I was about 8 to see Trisha the elephant. I would consider a scene at a zoo with my mum at 8, seeing Trisha the elephant, who has the same name as my mum, and talking about that. My mum, whom I have many memories of. I could be very specific about my mum in a scene. Or maybe you think of the Elephant Man, which I saw in Year 9, and the teacher would bang on the TV, not realise it was meant to be in black and white. Alright, maybe you're having trouble getting it off words alone. That's fine, don't worry, it will come. To ease you into it, some triggers more easily cause these flash memories. One is smell, one is taste. And they both often go into memories before the age of 6, which is interesting because that's some of the hardest memories to access on your own. To be fair though, smell and taste are hard to trigger in an improv scene. We don't have smell and taste. There is one major trigger that we do have access to, and that is music.
Alright, I'm on Johnson Avenue in San Luis Obispo, and I'm 5 years old or 6 maybe, and indications that there's something wrong with our new house. Trip down the wire twice daily. I'm in the living room watching the Watergate hearings while my stepfather yells at my mother, launches a glass across the room straight at her head, and I dash upstairs to take cover, lean in close to my little record player on the floor. So this is what the volume knob's for. I listen to dance music.
Music is extremely diverse, wildly available, especially today, and importantly, has literally soundtracked your entire life, our lives, world history. A song is a 3-minute emotion manipulating machine, universal in effectiveness and its usage. I've even got an underscore in this video. Now all this is great, but what we care about is when you hear a particular tune, what is your flash?
When I listen to my records, they take me back to certain points in my life, okay? Just don't touch my records. Ever. The first time that I met you? Modell Sisters high school graduation party, right? 1955. And Ain't That a Shame was playing when I walked in the door.
Didn't I take good care of you? No, no, I can't believe you're leaving me. Stay with me, baby. Stay with me, baby. Oh, stay with me, baby. I can't go
You can use music in a scene. I mean, you can sing, dance, whatever. Or, just like a book, you can talk about music. Everyone's got an opinion.
Like a Virgin's not about some sensitive girl who meets a nice fella. That's what True Blue's about. No, granted, no argument about that.
Which one's True Blue? Oh, you ain't heard True Blue. It was a big ass in from Madonna. I don't even follow that Tops of the Pop shit, and even I've heard of True Blue.
Yeah, so I didn't say I ain't heard of it. You know, what I asked is how's it go? Excuse me for not being the world's biggest Madonna fan.
Personally, I can do without her.
I used to like her early stuff, Borderline. When she got off into that Papa Don't Preach phase, I tuned out.
But you guys are like making me lose my train of thought here. I was saying something. What was it?
I mean, do you create music?
No, I don't create it.
Yeah,
no.
you don't create that. Yeah.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah. And you make movies about it.
Yes, exactly. And I use it in my movies, and it is a huge part of my aesthetic.
It is. It really is.
No, it really is.
It's not only. Yeah. It's a defining part of your.
I would agree, but I don't make it, and that's actually part.
So what does that make you? A kind of aggregator?
Yeah, it's I guess. Yeah. Well, it also it is modern art going on. There is a slightly, for lack of a better word, a hip-hop aesthetic of taking something that already exists, taking what you like from what already exists, and putting it into your own work, and by the way you do it and the way you frame it, creating something that didn't exist before. Now, it's taken a while for that to be respected, all right? But that's always kind of where I've been coming from.
Growing up in the 70s gives you appreciation for certain music that came out in the 70s that nobody else on the planet has appreciation for unless you grew up listening to it.
Everyone's got an opinion, and as this video comes to an end, thank you for watching, I want to assure you, you do have an opinion about these things. Maybe you're worried about your knowledge, but everyone thinks of something when you hear this. Thank you for watching my video essay. For additional material on object work and scene painting and a load of related stuff, please consult the attached notes or check out my blog Improv Alchemy. Fair warning though, this is probably the most impressive thing on there. See ya!
Welcome to the future.